What is up, guys? How's it going? It is Uncle Bob. Welcome to the channel. Welcome back. We are here for what I am. Yeah, it is. This is going to be the last day of grinding I'm going to be doing. I have been trying to grind it out to get myself as many shurikens as I can within reason, and I don't know, I just feel like with everything, I feel like 22 is going to be a good number to go to. 99 max, get, 2/9, whatever that 20 something percent. Yeah, just 22, and I'm basically going to save them entirely for the either final boss or maybe gauntlet of bosses, depending on, how we end up feeling and how much we're struggling. So, that's the goal. Plus, we can make sure we get our skill up. I don't know how much that really is going to influence a whole lot, but, I like it saying skill up. That's all that I care about. It says skill up, and I like that. So, yeah, we're just, this should be the last day. Especially because now I'm just using, which I don't know why I wasn't. Just be as efficient as possible. Just keep casting Break 2 on the ninjas. My 2 ninjas over here can just beat any of these snake bastards. So, there's not even a need to worry about any of them. Hope everyone's doing good, enjoying their Monday. Okay, so it needs to be a little bit more than what they dished out. Oh well. Now we would have had to waste a turn moving rows and then go back to the menu. So I guess, for situations like that, it is what it is. Well, I don't know why you didn't hit that hard the first time. But yeah, it's Monday, so it's my Sunday. It's like, what, 10:45 in the morning? Got my son on the bus, daughter to daycare, dropped the woman off some coffee. Got coffee of my own. And since it's a weekend, I'm being a little spicy. Damn, we're just dishing it out this turn. Dead in one turn regardless. I was spicy today and got 3 packs of sugar instead of 2. During my work week, I only allow myself 1 cream, 2 sugar. The weekends, I allow it to be a little spicy. And I use 2, and I give myself 3. My weekend treat. Da-da-da. Yeah, and then in about an hour and a half or so, I'm going to leave to go take my daughter to her appointment. Because she has a follow-up doctor's appointment to the one she had 2 weeks ago. Because she gets a little wheezy with the change of certain seasons, because I think she's just going to have allergies like me, so all the phlegm and mucus and everything. Just, her being little, her body just has a hard time adjusting to it. So, gave her more of her medicine, and yeah, she's been sounding much better. So we're just going to go do that. I think she has a couple of vaccinations she needs to get. She was supposed to get them like a few months ago, but they weren't like urgent ones to get, especially because she had been doing other things. Can't remember what it was a couple months ago, but at very least the last one, because it was for her wheezing, they didn't want to give her vaccinations that day, so they'll probably do it today. I told my daughter I'd take her to, my kids are both very basic. My son's favorite place, Chipotle. My son loves the fucking, the build your own tacos, I was about to call them the Happy Meals. They're like kids menu things. I don't even think they fully fill him up anymore, but like him building his own tacos, he loves that shit. So, that's always just adorable. And then my daughter's favorite place is Panda Express. And we were supposed to go there not too long ago, but unfortunately, neither me or Mama had the money available to do so. So I promised her the next doctor's appointment she had, I would take her there for lunch. So that's indeed what we're going to do. Nope. I was hoping Angus would go first so he would just be healed up, but not what happened. I don't understand why heal is so high up on the fucking spell list. Especially because status ailments, maybe I've just been lucky. Status ailments have not been a super big factor in this game. Certain games, they can be like, ever present and always a giant pain in your ass. But in this game, they have not really been all that. Which obviously I'm going to be fine with. So a lot of times I talk about politics, but today we're going to talk about sports! Sports and video games? No fucking way. So obviously living in Illinois, I'm not a big fan of like the NFL and football. I like it, but I was just raised in a very big baseball family. So I'm a big Cubs fan. I mean, if you see any of the videos I make where I'm watching One Piece, if you ever want to watch it with me, they're not reaction videos. I don't have, the episode posted in clips, and I'm not playing with all the copyright nonsense. They're just videos that are like, hey, you want to watch through a show? Do it with a buddy, do it with a pal, do it with me. In any of those, you'll see that a lot of times I'm wearing like a Cubs hat. I actually have, from when they won the World Series, I think I have 4 different championship Cubs hats. 2 of their like silver gray ones that they actually wore, that the players wore on the field, like right when they won it. And these other ones that are like a cheaper looking blue variant. I have, I think, 2 of each. I don't know where one of the silver ones is, but it's somewhere. I know it is. But I've always been a big baseball fan, so I'm not like the biggest NFL fan, but like I'm a casual Bears fan. Like, it's not even based on whether they're good or bad. I'll be fans of theirs when they're bad, when they're good. It's more like a time thing. Like, I'll pay attention to the NFL for like 2 years, and then there'll be like 2 years where I don't really like pay attention to anything. And then there'll be another 2 years where I'm watching and paying attention heavily, and then another few years that I'm just not. So I'm casual in that sense that, it just, I'll pay attention to the Bears. I won't pay attention to the Bears. Really has nothing to do with whether they're good or bad, because let's face it, the Chicago Bears are almost always bad. So like, what the fuck does it matter, But yesterday they lost in another heartbreaking fashion. You know, they lost to the Washington Commanders a few weeks ago to a Hail Mary as the clock ran down. And then this game, they lose by a blocked field goal. And, you know, as time expired. And it's just one of those things that, like, yeah, it sucks. But I always feel like when I'm, like, looking at what fans are saying, I feel like fans have a much different idea of, like, technically, like, good and bad losses in games. Because I will take a heartbreak loss almost any time. They suck, they hurt, but they hurt because it was close, and it hurts you that it was close. And that's a feeling I'm willing to have. What I hate are those losses a team gets where you just feel nothing. You just feel numb. And that was last week's game. Now, I don't care if you know anything about football, really. You should know enough to know, even if you're not, you know nothing about football. You should at least understand that if a team in an entire game gets only 32 passing yards in a game, assuming there's no, like, wild weather conditions where it's, like, blizzarding for a team that plays outdoors, and because of that, no one's throwing the ball. Barring any sort of environmental factors like that, if you only have 32 passing yards, it's not just like, that's what happened when the Bears played the New England Patriots, who are a phenomenally bad team this year. And the Bears lost to them in stunningly bad fashion. And the thing is when, to me at least, when you lose like that, those are like numbing losses. Like losses that just make you feel that pit of nothingness. Because games like that, for me, are... It's when things like, when a team loses like that, because that's something that only bad teams lose like, barring some extenuating circumstance. But when a team loses like that, it's not just the players were playing bad. When a team loses like that, when a bad team loses like that, it shows a rot and failure from like the absolute lowest levels of the organization, which, you know, in the way that, you know, control of an organization go is the players, to the toppiest of management. Like a structural failure on the field at every conceivable and workable level is what the game against New England was. Games like yesterday, or the games like against Washington, those losses hurt more. But the hurt is because it was close, and there was a chance, and there's realistic expectations that it could have just gone the other way. But I'll take those. I'll take those because, you know, the Bears have a relatively difficult schedule for the rest of the year, where it's very possible that of the 7 games they have left, they will not win a single game for the rest of the season. And that is a thing that I can accept as a possibility. If they are games like yesterday. If they keep losing in like heartbreaking fashion, that means that at very least they're close. They're close They're fighting, they're biting, they're scratching, they're clawing. They're fighting like hell to get that win, and they just keep coming up short. I can make peace with that. What I can't make peace with is games where, like, you just look at, and by the end, you just feel nothing. Like, it's just a sense of complete defeat. We'll go for an anime reference here. My favorite anime in the world, Gurren Lagann. Call it an absolute despair. That's what that is. Just ultimate depression. You know, everybody says, you know, depression isn't when you feel sad. Depression is when you feel nothing, when it's void and empty. That is those kinds of games. But it seems like the reaction that most fans have is like, they whine and complain more on heartbreaking games in ways that, like, they shouldn't. And it's like, listen, I get it, but I also, like, need you to fucking relax. Because those are the games I kind of want. Like, their new young quarterback that is being thrown to the fucking wolves is out there not getting, like, physically assaulted by the defense like he was last week. Getting the ball out, not throwing interceptions. I'm playing Final Fantasy. He's out there getting that XP. That's all I want. That's all I want from the Bears. Especially Bears fans. Like, there's the same thing with the last guy, Justin Fields. Like, too many people thought that going in, he was going to be like this new revolutionary player that was going to change the franchise. And the thing is when the things that are wrong are so deeply entrenched in the organization, you can swap out as many quarterbacks as you want. It's not going to do you what you think it's going to do. And the Bears have done it now with two quarterbacks. Like Mitchell Trubisky and Justin Fields may not have been like the most elitist of level of quarterbacks. But the Bears definitely made those quarterbacks worse. And probably through their mismanagement, made it so that way those players, there was no way, no matter where Trubisky went, that there was nowhere he was going to go after what happened in Chicago where he was going to be successful. Any sense of confidence that kid had was gone by the time he left the team. Like, it was rough to watch Trubisky actually doing, for his talents, really good, relatively good with the Bears for that 1 year where they made the playoffs and they lost on the legendary double doink where they did 2 field goals in a row and both hit the bars and they lost. They did pretty well as a team 1 year. They lose in, surprisingly again, heartbreaking fashion. Next year they come back, and honestly, from what I remember, everything that next year was going pretty goddamn good. Let me see. What? Now I gotta look. Bears double doink year. Okay. 2018, that says. Bears schedule 2019. Let me see if this was... Let me see if this was the one. Sorry, this is taking me a little bit. No, maybe it was... Was it that year? Maybe. Hold on. All right, well, never mind. I was wrong. It turns out the Bears were not doing very good that year. The year after the double doink. But regardless, I would say that if you paid attention, if you knew anything about the Bears media or anything regarding like the Chicago media when it comes to sports, there was just a lot of things put on the quarterback as far as like the hopes and dreams and success of the entire organization that sorry, I unplugged my headphones. The Bears basically ruined any shreds of confidence that the kid had. And he wasn't going to be successful anywhere. And that was the same with Justin Fields, is that, you know, he was brought in after a failed rookie quarterback to come in and try to right and correct those wrongs. And the truth of the matter is that never ended up happening either. And it sucks because, you know, the fan base puts all of this pressure on a lot of these players when really the players have been interchangeable, and the issues that the team as an organization kind of deals with is pretty much the same no matter who's copy-pasted in there. Excellent. Like, the Chicago Bears are only ever good as a football team based on, like, pure, unadulterated luck. Like, the right people just play good and get hot at the right times. It's just, it always has to be, like, the perfect set of circumstances. Because on their own, like, the team is never run well enough. And it sucks because when you listen to a lot of the former players, they all basically have the same things to say when it comes to like ownership and management of the company. Feels like I'm not getting as much of those lizards and I'm getting a lot more of the ninjas. Which is why it seems like I'm gaining money slower. Only 10,000 more. So, not 10,000. 100,000. But, no, ex-players all say the same thing about the fucking team. Is that, you know, ownership as, like, people and individuals are all just, they're phenomenal people, beautiful people. The environment in the clubhouse because of it is always really nice for the most part. Like, they're all great people. But it's been like the same team owning Now, this we can look up and have relatively low difficulty because this will be a factual matter. One that I don't have to guess about. When did the McCaskies have ownership of the Bears?
According to Chicago Bears, the only daughter of legendary Pro Football Hall of Famer George Halas.
No. Okay, no. George Halas ownership of the Bears. Okay, yeah. So it's basically been the same family because it was showing me when the daughter took ownership was in 1983. But she got it from her father who's owned it since 1920. So the same family has owned it for now 104 years. And a lot of the ex-players say that they're basically still trying to run everything as if it were still, the 1920s. And because of that, they're always basically playing small beans compared to all of these other organizations. And that's the part that's really unfortunate. It's unfortunate because it just doesn't need to be that way. That's the thing. But, it's like a lot of things, unless things change a lot of times from a top-down level, some things need to be changed and reformed from the bottom up. But, when it comes to, business ownership in that way, that's something that has to change from the top down. Unless there's a different person at the helm with different ideas and different goals, you're going to keep getting the same things. That's the one person that you basically can blind and it doesn't matter. Yeah, no matter how long it takes, I'm basically just going to keep going until I get that last 100 thou. Well, now it's like what? 73? 73,000? We're dwindling it. He was already stiffening up. And then in other tragic news, we had that fucking Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight the other day, which was, it basically went how you should have expected it to go, I guess is the big thing. It unfortunately it was always going to look like a dude fighting a 58-year-old man. And, it sucks because, if Jake Paul is just out there putting interest in the sport of boxing and that's what he wants, then that's fine. Then have your meme fights and let them be meme fights and it's all good. I'm fine at just generating interest for the sport of boxing. I don't mind that. But, Jake Paul gives the air, or has, fans of his thinking at very least, that, one of his goals is to be taken seriously as a boxer. And it's like, all right, well, listen, if you want to, then, You can't win by decision to a 58-year-old man. And you could say, like, oh, I didn't want to knock anyone that didn't need to be knocked out. You know, I get that it's Mike Tyson, but, like, if you want to be taken seriously, you can't have it just be another meme fight against a guy who, let's face it, as good as Mike Tyson looks as far as, like, what kind of shape he's in for his age, the fact of the matter is that in 7 years, he's going to be able to order off of a lot of senior citizen menus. He is less than a decade away from being that level of old. That is, you have to show that you're clowning with someone, like, in every way, and you still have to knock him out. Like, I'm sorry. And I get, again, that it's Mike Tyson. You may not want to do that. And that's also cool, too. But then just have your meme fights. Who was it? Wasn't it Logan that fought Mayweather? Like, Mayweather was much younger and in much more, like, boxing kind of shape to fight. And who was it? Was that Jake? Which I don't think Jake is, or I think that was Logan Paul. I don't think Logan is nearly as big on the boxing thing as his brother is. But regardless, like, that was a fight where very clearly the only advantage that Logan had was the fact that he's bigger and he can handle punches and weight from a smaller fighter. Because if that level of skill was hitting him with anywhere near, like, closer weight, that would have been game over. You know, Jake sits there and he's like, oh, you know, I want to fight Canelo. Bro, no, you don't. You do not want to fight Canelo. He is not at the weight threshold that you're going to be able to handle, like, that level of real punches, especially as a still active boxer. When did Mike Tyson have his last boxing match? More than, like, 20 years ago? 20 years ago? That's a level of out of the gameness that you're just not really going to, you're not going to have to deal with shit. $20 like, that's a long time. And sure, there's a lot of things that, like, Mike Tyson is going to hang on to. But if you're just going to do your meme boxing matches, then just do that. That's all good. I don't even mind. Just don't sit there and, you know, pretend like you want me to take you seriously. Because if not, then all we're still really doing is if not, all we're doing is continuing the Paul tradition of just fighting old, has-been, washed-up fighters. $33 thou more. See, these are the fights I need. And, like, it's funny though, but when I was talking about the Bears earlier, you know, I have people that are like, yeah, well, you know what? I'm tired of the team being, you know, mediocre every year. And it's like, well, listen, obviously, so am I. But the fact of the matter is that from an organizational standpoint, the team's mediocre. The team sucks. It's not even like a player thing necessarily. It's not necessarily a coaching thing. It's everything. Because the management is going to pick the general manager, who's going to pick the coaches, who's going to pick the players. Like, everything is always going to fall in that setup from the top down. And it's going to continue like that because that's how it runs. You know, we can be as sick of it as we want, but, you know, I'm going to try, especially when, you know, these discussions a lot of times turn into, like, the players. I'm going to hold the players to an expectation that makes sense for the situation they're in. I'm not going to expect a fucking rookie quarterback to come out of college playing with boys to a league where he's playing against grown-ass men, like real grown-ass men, and expect him to walk into a fucking mediocre and failing organization and be like, well, kid, you got this, right? You can handle this. That's like, in what world is this kid going to be able to handle that level of responsibility where you're trying to fix an entire organization of its just massive rot? Like, that's not what this kid is going to be meant to do. It's just not realistic. And of course, people are like, oh yeah, well, you know, Caleb Williams was promised us to be like this new quarterback that was going to, you know, be all this, that, and a bag of chips. And it's like, those promises are being made by the same fucked up organization that's like in charge of all the decisions. Of course they're going to tell you that. Even if they themselves fully and like wholeheartedly also believe it. Like, they don't even have to be lying. Like, but of course they're going to tell you that. Like, that's what they think. They're the ones making the decision. They're sitting there thinking like, look how good this kid is. Yeah, he's going to be what changes it. Because they don't think they're the problem. You know, management, they don't think they're the issue. Why would they? One more fight, right? Yep. One more fight, and that'll be it for the day. Next time, we'll buy our shurikens and get out of here. I do kind of hope that I have to walk back and I can't exit, because I will be very low on money, and I will need more money once again. Nice. That put me just over the threshold. Perfect. Well, it has been fun. That was the last bit of grinding that I'm going to do, and hopefully I don't need to do any more for the rest of the game. I don't know how much more game is left, but I feel like the fact that I got these like 2 extra job classes, I feel like is a signifier that I am close to the end. So yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow with what game is tomorrow? Terranigma. See you then. Peace.